Hi, 10th graders. Happy Tuesday. Welcome to week 6, lesson 26. Let's get started. Why did the golfer bring 2 pairs of pants? In case he got a hole in one. The video you should be watching right now is ELA G10W6L26. The text you will be reading today is The Thrill of the Chase, which is the text you also read yesterday. And you'll be engaging in a close read of the text, and you'll analyze author's use of anecdotes during that close read. And if you go down to lesson 26, you can see the materials that you need for today's lesson. The learning target for today is I can complete close read annotations to analyze how the use of anecdotes enhance the intended message of a text. Because yesterday we engaged in a first read and you have a gist of the story, today you're going to focus on the thrill of the chase again, but you're going to really just engage in a close read, a deeper look at a specific part of the text, and you're really going to look at how the author uses anecdotes to enhance the intended message of the text. So let's talk about what you will be doing with the read, think, talk, write protocol. With read, because it focuses a lot on anecdotes, we want to give you a quick bit of information on anecdotes. So it says, note that an anecdote is a short, amusing, or interesting story about a real incident or person. Authors often use anecdotes to strengthen the credibility of the writing. They are important because they emphasize personal experience next to that of facts or professional perspectives. So really an anecdote is just a short, amusing story about an incident or person, and they're basically just used to strengthen the credibility of the writing because they're not necessarily facts, but they're just like personal examples to back up facts. So what you're going to be doing today is you're going to actually reread paragraph 19 of The Thrill of the Chase, and you'll use this paragraph to help you understand the author's use of anecdotes. That paragraph is filled with anecdotes, so that's why we chose paragraph 19. And then you're going to perform the steps of the close read routine, like to annotate the question and then conclude. And you're going to mark details in the paragraph that relate to the anecdotes sent to Fenn by different treasure hunters. So you'll see in that paragraph, when you read it again, this is the paragraph that many different people sent anecdotes to Fenn about their experience when they were hunting the treasure. And then in the think section today, the question is, what can you infer about the anecdotes provided in paragraph 19? Why might individuals write to Fenn about a treasure they never found? And then you're going to document your thinking on the space in the note catcher, which when you go to the note catcher, you'll see there's a space for you to jot your answer down. So the talk part today, you're going to talk with someone about the question, which is more exciting, the search for an object that is difficult to acquire or being given the object? Do material objects bring people happiness? So you really have to decide, this is personal opinion, is the search for an object that is difficult more exciting than acquiring or being given the object? So the actual search itself or just being given it. And do material objects bring people happiness? So just in general, do you feel like material objects, things that you probably want but don't need, do they bring you happiness? And then for the right section, you're going to select one of the anecdotes from paragraph 19. You're going to come across a few and explain why you think the author included it in the article. What importance did the particular anecdote have in the text? So why was it included and what importance did it have in the text? And then don't forget that this is in your note catcher and there's a space for you to jot down your answer. So the closing today is like the closing every other day. You're first going to share your writing with someone. And then after you complete your assignment, remember to read a book for 20 minutes. And if you go to the top of the ELA packet, there is a reading log for you to document the reading you do every single day. So the model today will be around close reading for anecdotes. And I wanted to quickly just remind you all the actual assignment with close reading for anecdotes, because there's a few different things in the different components of the read, think, talk, write protocol that speak to anecdotes that I wanted to go over right now real quick before engaging in the model. So in the read section, it gives you information about what an anecdote is, and then it tells you to reread paragraph 19. And because that paragraph specifically will help you understand the author's use of anecdotes. And then as you're engaging in the close read, you're supposed to mark details in the paragraph that relate to the anecdotes sent to Fenn by different treasure hunters. So like step one is to sort of like go back to paragraph 19, reread it, and mark details about the anecdotes in paragraph 19. And then you're gonna like think about an inference to make. So infer about the anecdotes based on what is listed about them in paragraph 19. And then why might individuals write to Fenn about a treasure they never found? So use anecdotes in paragraph 19 to infer like why might individuals write to him about a treasure they never found. And of course, you'll put that in your note catcher. And then also in the writing section, you have to select one of the anecdotes from paragraph 19 and explain why you think the author included in the article. What importance did the particular anecdote have in the text? That's like the third part of the anecdote thing. So not only do you have to read it in paragraph 19 and mark details about it, underline it, make an inference about why might individuals write to Fenn about these anecdotes if they never found the treasure, and then ultimately in the writing section, you're going to select one of the anecdotes and explain why the author included it in the article in the first place, and what importance do those anecdotes bring to the article, to the text itself. Okay, so I'm going to read paragraph 19, and when I come across an anecdote, I'm going to underline it, and then when I come across another anecdote, I'll also underline it. Each of the anecdotes will be underlined in different colors just to help you differentiate between the two. And after we go through the paragraph, we'll sort of talk through each anecdote and make sense of it, and just like really unpack what like the details were about that anecdote. And then after we do that for both anecdotes, we'll sort of talk through in general what was the purpose the author had for including these anecdotes in the first place, and what was the importance of these anecdotes on the overall text. Okay, let's get started. Many who contact Fenn are looking for a little extra help. Others simply want to share their stories. Dear Mr. Fenn, wrote one, we don't think we will find the treasure chest, but I just want to thank you for getting me and my family off of the couch and out into the mountains. Okay, that's one anecdote, so I'm going to underline that in red. Next, another man told of how he went out to look for his grown son. The two slept in a van and talked about their hopes for the future. They gave up the search after 2 days, but it wasn't a wasted effort, the father wrote. If it hadn't been for the book, my son and I would never have had this time with each other. And so that is our second anecdote, so I'm going to underline all of that in blue. So let's talk about each anecdote. So the first one, underlined in red. So we can tell and infer from this anecdote that this family was not motivated by the money. They even said, we don't think we will find the treasure. So they really realized that it wasn't a possibility to actually find the treasure. They were really motivated by the money. They were realistic they won't find the prize. That sort of connects to what I just said. But really, that didn't matter to them because they were just appreciative for the family time and for the adventure. They said, it got me and my family off of the couch and out into the mountains. So, even though they didn't come back with the prize, which I'm sure they would have liked, like, who would have not enjoyed all that money and the fame that would come with it. But to them, it was not really about that. They were just appreciative that they could spend time with the family and go out in the mountains. Next is the second anecdote in blue. And a few things that I wanted to note here was this was not a luxurious trip. They slept in a van and drove long ways. So it wasn't like one that was luxurious and they weren't staying at a nice resort or hotel. Probably didn't cost that much to do. We know it was father-son and it was bonding time. It also said here they talked about their hopes for the future because they slept in the van, but they had a lot of time together. So I'm sure they talked about their hopes and dreams for the future. And they gave up after 2 days, but they said it wasn't a waste. It wasn't a wasted effort because of how valuable the quality time was that they spent together. So that we don't really know much about their relationship before, but I think the father really appreciated this time with his son. This time maybe doesn't come often in their life, or maybe they haven't had this time just alone where they got the opportunity to talk about their hopes and dreams. So they gave up after 2 days. I think they probably realized they weren't going to find it, and so they were just content with the journey because of how close they got and how much time they had together. Okay, so now I want to make a few mentions of what I think the author's purpose as a whole was for including these anecdotes in the text, because this will help you with all the activities you have to complete in the lesson for today. So I think one purpose of including these anecdotes is really to show that this adventure was meant more to many people, to many people than just the money. And that was clear actually in both anecdotes, because like what they gained from this experience, what both people gained from this experience, both sets of people, was essentially priceless. It was way more than the money could provide them. They were able to experience adventure and go out in the mountains, and they had quality time together to talk about hopes and dreams, father and son. So to these people, it meant more than the money. And that was intentional. The author was intentional for including these anecdotes here because it's clear they want us to realize that while some people were chasing the money, it was way more than just the money itself. It was a priceless adventure because it brought families together and encouraged them to experience the outdoors. That's sort of what I just said. I wanted to add the word priceless, though, because you would think that people who are engaging in a treasure hunt are motivated by money, but what they ended up walking away with was priceless. Maybe they didn't even know that was going to be the case. Maybe they didn't anticipate that they would have such fun together and really talk about deep things, but these anecdotes show that what they gained from the experience was well beyond any treasure. It was definitely priceless. And I was alluding to this earlier, but I think these were included here intentionally because it speaks to the true motivation of Fenn. He probably anticipated that his treasure would never be found, but he knew that the real prize was much greater, which is why he started the treasure hunt in the first place. So these anecdotes are really important because they're spoken from other people about what they gained from the treasure hunting experience. Like we could listen all day to what Fenn says his motivations were for starting the treasure hunt, but and that would resonate with me and resonate with some people, I'm sure, and you as a reader as well. But really, what it comes down to is when we hear from other people about how they felt after engaging in the treasure hunt, that actually confirms that what Fenn was doing actually worked, and that it was more than just an experience to try to get rich. It was actually about the beauty of the adventure, getting outdoors and spending time with people you care about. And so I think it was intentional to include these anecdotes here because these anecdotes actually do speak to the true motivation of Fenn, because if they weren't included, we would just be taking Fenn's word for it of why he started the treasure hunt in the first place. But the fact that people are actually spending the time to write in these stories to Fenn, even after they didn't get the money, speaks to how powerful of an experience it was for people. And so if the author didn't include these anecdotes here, we may never actually know if the motivation that Fenn had was authentic. But because people actually are confirming it with their own real life story, then we can really believe and be comfortable in believing that his motivations were genuine and that they actually worked, because people were finding this to be quite the life-changing experience. So hopefully the model was helpful in giving you an overview over some of the things you have to complete today. Make sure you go back to the lesson plan for lesson 26 and reread all the different parts of the Read, Think, Talk, Write protocol to remind yourself everything you have to do on your own. For tomorrow, lesson 27, the learning target is I can identify and explain the structure of a feature story and can apply this knowledge to additional topics of interest. So tomorrow, really, the focus is going to be around feature stories and the structure of them. As always, thank you for learning with me today. Just a few quick reminders. Don't forget to talk about your lesson with someone. Read 20 minutes and complete a reading log entry. The reading log is at the front of your packet. And practice reading fluency using the first or second page of your weekly reading. So the reading for this week can be used for your fluency work. And if you forgot what to do for fluency, go to the front of your packet and there's information there. And as always, email your teacher for support if you have any questions. Thank you. Have a great day. And remember, keep learning.